The Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus railway station is lit in the colours of India's flag ahead of the country's Independence Day in Mumbai. Indian Independence Day is celebrated annually on the 15th of August, and this year marks 70 years since British India split into two nations, Hindu-majority India and Muslim-majority Pakistan, and millions were uprooted in one of the largest mass migrations in history. Getty, a demonstrator holds up a picture of Heather Heyer during a demonstration in front of City Hall for victims of the Charlottesville, Virginia tragedy, and against racism in Los Angeles, California, USA. Rallies have been planned across the United States to demonstrate opposition to the violence in Charlottesville. EPA Jessica Mincar embraces Nicole Jones L. during a vigil for those who were killed and injured when a car plowed into a crowd of anti-fascist counter-demonstrators marching near a downtown shopping area. Charlottesville, Virginia. Getty, white nationalists, neo-Nazis and members of the alt-right clash with counter-protesters as they enter Lee Park during the Unite the Right in Charlottesville, Virginia. After clashes with anti-fascist protesters and police, the rally was declared an unlawful gathering and people were forced out of Lee Park. Getty, a North Korean flag is seen on top of a tower at the propaganda village of Gyeongdong in North Korea, as a South Korean flag flutters in the wind in this picture taken near the border area near the demilitarized zone separating the two Koreas in Paju, South Korea. Reuters, a firefighter extinguishes flames as a fire engulfs an informal settlers area beside a river in Manila. AFP, a rally in support of North Korea's stance against the U.S. on Kim Il-sung Square in Pyongyang. AFP, rocks from the collapsed wall of a hotel building cover a car after an earthquake outside Jeodaegu, Sichuan province. Reuters, people in Seoul, South Korea walk by a local news program with an image of U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday, the 9th of August. North Korea and the United States traded escalating threats, with Mr. Trump threatening Pyongyang with fire and fury like the world has never seen. A Maasai woman waits in line to vote in Lele, 130 kilometers 80 miles south of Nairobi, Kenya. Kenyans are going to the polls today to vote in a general election after a tightly fought presidential race between incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta and main opposition leader Raila Odinga. Pro-government supporters march in Caracas, Venezuela on the 7th of August. Reuters, children pray after releasing paper lanterns on the Motoyasu River facing the atomic bomb dome in remembrance of atomic bomb victims on the 72nd anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima, Western Japan. Reuters, Russian President Vladimir Putin L., accompanied by Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, gestures as he fishes in the remote Tuva region in southern Siberia. Getty images, a family claiming to be from Haiti drag their luggage over the Uskinada border into Canada from Champlin, New York, U.S. August 3, 2017. Reuters, a disabled man prepares to cast his vote at a polling station in Kigali, Rwanda, August 4, 2017. Reuters, attention editors, people carry the body of Yawanissa, a suspected militant, who according to local media was killed during a gun battle with Indian security forces at Herpora village, during his funeral in South Kashmir's Anantnag district, August 4, 2017. Reuters, a general view shows a flooded area in Sakon Nakhon province, Thailand, August 4, 2017. Reuters, a plane landed in São João beach, killing 2 people, in Costa da Caparica, Portugal, August 2, 2017. Reuters, Hermitage Capital CEO William Browder waits to testify before a continuation of Senate Judiciary Committee hearing on alleged Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential election on Capitol Hill in Washington, U.S. July 27, 2017. Reuters, TOPSHOT moto taxi driver hold flags of the governing Rwanda Patriotic Fronts at the beginning of a parade in Kigali, on August 2, 2017. Incumbent Rwandan President Paul Kagame will close his electoral campaigning ahead of the August 4 presidential elections, which he is widely expected to win, giving him a third term in office. AFP, TOPSHOT migrants wait to be rescued by the Aquarius rescue ship run by non-governmental organizations NGO SOS Mediterranean Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders, in the Mediterranean Sea, 30 nautic miles from the Libyan coast, on August 2, 2017. AFP, 2 children hold a placard picturing a plane as they take part in a demonstration in central Athens outside the German embassy with others refugees and migrants to protest against the limitation of reunification of families in Germany, on August 2, 2017. AFP, flames erupt as clashes break out while the Constituent Assembly election is being carried out in Caracas, Venezuela, July 30, 2017. Reuters. Carlos Garcia Rawlins. Reuters. People in the village of Gabarpura carry the remains of Akil Ahmed Bhatt, a civilian who, according to local media, died following clashes after two militants were killed in an encounter with Indian security forces in Hakripura in South Kashmir's Pulwama district, August 2, 2017. Reuters. Danish Ishmael. Reuters. Incumbent Rwandan President Paul Kagame gestures as he arrives for the closing rally of the presidential campaign in Kigali, on August 2, 2017, while supporters greet him. Rwandans go the polls on August 4, 2017, in a presidential election in which strongman Paul Kagame is widely expected to cruise to a third term in office. AFP. Soldiers of China's People's Liberation Army get ready for the military parade to commemorate the 90th anniversary of the foundation of the army at Juraya military training base in Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region, China. Reuters. Cyclists at the start of the first stage of the Tour de Pologne cycling race, over 130 kilometers from Krakow's main market square, Poland. EPA. Israeli border guards keep watch as Palestinian Muslim worshippers pray outside Jerusalem's Old City overlooking the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. Ahmed Garabullah, a supporter of Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, passes out after the Supreme Court's decision to disqualify Sharif in Lahore. Reuters. Mohsen Raza. Australian police officers participate in a training scenario called an armed defender emergency exercise held at an international passenger terminal located on Sydney Harbour. Reuters. David Gray. North Korean soldiers watch the south side as the United Nations command officials visit after a commemorative ceremony for the 64th anniversary of the Korean armistice at the truce village of Panmunjom in the demilitarized zone DMZ dividing the two Koreas. Reuters. Young Bangladeshi commuters use a rickshaw to cross a flooded street amid heavy rainfall in Dhaka. Bangladesh is experiencing downpours following a depression forming in the Bay of Bengal. Munir UZ Zamanara. The Soyuz MS-05 spacecraft for the next International Space Station ISS crew of Paolo Nespoli of Italy, Sergei Ryazansky of Russia, and Randy Bresnik of the US, is transported from an assembling hangar to the launch pad ahead of its upcoming launch, at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Baikonur, Kazakhstan. Reuters. Shamal Jumatov. A protester shouts at U.S. President Donald Trump as he is removed from his rally with supporters in an arena in Youngstown, Ohio. Reuters. Indian supporters of Gorkhaland chant slogans tied with chains during a protest march in capital New Delhi. Eastern India's hill resort of Darjeeling has been rattled at the height of tourist season after violent clashes broke out between police and hundreds of protesters of the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha (GJM), a long-simmering separatist movement that has long called for a separate state for ethnic Gorkhas in West Bengal. The GJM wants a new, separate state of Gorkhaland carved out of eastern West Bengal state, of which Darjeeling is a part. Sajjad Husanab. Getty Images. Demonstrators clash with riot security forces while rallying against Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro's government in Caracas, Venezuela. The banner on the bridge reads, "It will be worth it." Reuters. The Heathcote River as it rises to high levels in Christchurch, New Zealand. Heavy rain across the South Island in the last 24 hours has caused widespread damage and flooding, with Dunedin, Waitaki, Timaru and the wider Otago region declaring a state of emergency. Getty Images. A mourner prays at a memorial during an event to commemorate the first anniversary of the shooting spree that 1 year ago left 10 people dead, including the shooter in Munich, Germany. 1 year ago, 18-year-old student David S. shot 9 people dead and injured 4 others at a neo-McDonald's restaurant in the Olympia Einkaufszentrum shopping center. After a citywide manhunt that caused mass panic and injuries, David S. shot himself in a park. According to police, David S., who had dual German and Iranian citizenship, had a history of mental troubles. Getty. Palestinians react following tear gas that was shot by Israeli forces after Friday prayer on a street outside Jerusalem's Old City. Reuters. Amarwad. Ousted former Thai Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra greets supporters as she arrives at the Supreme Court in Bangkok, Thailand. Reuters. Say that Perawong Meva Marek Suski of Law and Justice PC Party scuffles with Miroslaw Such on second L of Modern Party, No Utesna as Mitchell Schutzeba of Civic Platform POL Party holds up a copy of the Polish constitution during the Parliamentary Commission on Justice and Human Rights voting on the opposition's amendments to the bill that calls for an overhaul of the Supreme Court in Warsaw. Reuters. A firefighter stands near a grass fire as he prepares to defend a home from the Detweiler fire in Mariposa, California. Reuters. Michael Lindell, CEO of MyPillow, reacts as U.S. President Donald Trump attends a Made in America roundtable meeting in the East Room of the White House. Reuters. Giant pandas lie beside ice blocks at Yangjiaping Zoo in Chongqing, China. Yang Xiaopingzhu provided huge ice blocks for giant pandas to help them remove summer heat. Getty Images. People ride camels in the desert in Dunhuang, China, as Stage 10 of the Silkway Rally continues. Up Getty Images. 17th FINA World Aquatics Championships in Budapest, Hungary. Team North Korea practice under coach supervision. Reuters. IAAF World Para-Athletics Championships London, Britain, July 17, 2017. Reuters. Henry Brown workers check power lines during maintenance work in Leon, in China's eastern Anhui province. Of Getty Images. Russia. Kamash driver Dmitry Sotnikov, co-drivers Ruslan Akhmadayev and Ilna Mustafin compete during the Stage 9 of the Silkway 2017 between Urumqi and Hami, China. Frank 5. Getty Images. Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull talks with Special Operations Command soldiers during a visit to the Australian Army's Holdsworthy Barracks in Western Sydney. At Brendan Esposito via Reuters. Men in traditional sailor costumes celebrate after carrying a statue of the El Carmen Virgin, who is worshipped as the patron saint of sailors, into the Mediterranean Sea during a procession in Torremolinos, near Malaga, Spain. Reuters. Nazca people participate in a protest in front of the same building, the lower house of the Polish Parliament in Warsaw, Poland. The demonstration was organized by Committee for the Defense of Democracy (COD). Members and supporters of the COD and opposition parties protested against changes in the judicial law and the Supreme Court. EPA. People prepare to swim with a portrait of late Chinese Chairman Mao Zedong on the bank of the Yangtze River in Yichang, Hubei Province, China, to celebrate the 51st anniversary of Chairman Mao swimming in the Yangtze River. Reuters. A woman takes a selfie picture with her mobile phone next to the statue of Omar Halidemir in Istanbul, in front of a memorial with the names of people killed last year during the failed coup attempt. Up Getty Images. French President Emmanuel Macron gestures next to U.S. President Donald Trump during the annual Bastille Day military parade on the Champs-Élysées Avenue in Paris. Up Getty Images. Philippine National Police Chief Ronald Bato de la Rosa holds an M60 machine gun during a gun and ammunition show at a mall in Mandaluyong City, Metro Manila, Philippines. Reuters. Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko and European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker embrace before the EU-Ukraine summit in Kiev, Ukraine. Reuters. U.S. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump disembark from Air Force One upon arrival at Paris-Orly Airport on July 13, 2017, beginning a 24-hour trip that coincides with France's National Day and the 100th anniversary of U.S. involvement in World War I. Saul Loeb. Up Getty Images. Iraqis walk on a damaged street in West Mosul a few days after the government's announcement of the liberation of the embattled city from Islamic Statist group fighters. Getty. Iraqi boys wash a vehicle in West Mosul a few days after the government's announcement of the liberation of the embattled city from Islamic Statist group fighters. Fadil Sen. Up Getty Images. Afghan policemen pour fuel over jerry cans containing confiscated acetic acid before setting it alight on the outskirts of Herat. Some 15,000 liters of acetic acid, often mixed with heroin, were destroyed by counter-narcotics police. Hoshang Hashimi. Air police from the anti-terror squad participate in an anti-terror performance among Assenis dancers during a ceremony to commemorate the 71st anniversary of the Indonesian police corps in Banda Aceh. Getty Images. Residents stand amid the debris of their homes which were torn down in the evicted area of the Bukit Juri neighborhood located on the Ciliwung riverbanks in Jakarta Bay. Mayura boys play cricket at a parking lot as it rains in Chandigarh, India. Reuters. Ajay Verma. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan speaks at the 22nd World Petroleum Congress WPC in Istanbul. AFP. New Mongolia's President Kaltmir Batulga takes an oath during his inauguration ceremony in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. Reuters. U.S. Army 1st Division, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Navy and U.S. Marines march down the Champs-Élysées, with the Arc de Triomphe in the background, in Paris during a rehearsal of the annual Bastille Day military parade. AFP. Participants run ahead of Puerto de San Lorenzo's Fighting Bulls during the third bull run of the San Fermin Festival in Pamplona, northern Spain. Each day at 800 hundreds of people race with 6 bulls, charging along a winding, 848.6 meters more than half a mile course through narrow streets to city's bull ring, where the animals are killed in a bullfighter corridor. During this festival, immortalized in Ernest Hemingway's 1926 novel The Sun Also Rises and dating back to medieval times, and also featuring religious processions, folk dancing, concerts and round-the-clock drinking. Up Getty Images. Iraqi women, who fled the fighting between government forces and Islamic Statist group jihadists in the old city of Mosul, cry as they stand in the city's western industrial district awaiting to be relocated. AFP. U.S. President Donald Trump arrives for another working session during the G20 summit in Hamburg, northern Germany. Getty Images. People climb up on a roof to get a view during riots in Hamburg, northern Germany, where leaders of the world's top economies gather for a G20 summit. Getty Images. Anti-capitalism activists protest in Hamburg, where leaders of the world's top economies will gather for a G20 summit. Getty. A military helicopter rescues people trapped on the roof of the Ministry of Finance by an intense fire in San Salvador. Getty Images. Donald Trump arrives to deliver a speech at Krasinski Square in Warsaw, Poland. A firefighter conducts rescue operations in an area damaged by heavy rain in Asakura, Japan. Reuters. Crowds gather for the start of the San Fermin Festival in Pamplona, Spain. AFP. A member of the Iraqi security forces runs with his weapon during a fight between Iraqi forces and Islamic State militants in the old city of Mosul, Iraq. A U.S. MGM-140 Army tactical missile is fired during the combined military exercise between the U.S. and South Korea against North Korea at an undisclosed location in South Korea. AP. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un looks on during the test fire of intercontinental ballistic missile Hwasong-14. Reuters. Russian President Vladimir Putin shakes hands with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping during a signing ceremony following the talks at the Kremlin. Reuters. Belarusian servicemen march during a military parade as part of celebrations marking the Independence Day in Minsk, Belarus. Reuters. Ambulance cars and fire engines are seen near the site where a coach burst into flames after colliding with a lorry on a motorway near Münchberg, Germany. Reuters. An aerial view shows women swimming in the NSA River on a hot summer day, with the air temperature at about 32 degrees Celsius (89.6 degrees Fahrenheit), outside Krasnoyarsk, Siberia, Russia, June 28, 2017. Reuters. Protesters demonstrating against the upcoming G20 economic summit ride boats on Inner Ulster Lake during a protest march in Hamburg, Germany. Hamburg will host the upcoming G20 summit and is expecting heavy protests throughout. Getty Images. Investigators work at the scene of a car bomb explosion which killed Maxim Shapoval, a high-ranking official involved in military intelligence, in Kiev, Ukraine, June 27, 2017. Reuters. Protesters carry a large image of jailed Chinese Nobel Peace Laureate Liu Xiaobo as they march during the annual pro-democracy protest in Hong Kong. Thousands joined an annual protest march in Hong Kong, hours after Chinese President Xi Jinping wrapped up his visit to the city by warning against challenges to Beijing's sovereignty. Jockey Andrea Coffer of Selva Forest Parish rides his horse during the first practice for the Palio horse race in Siena, Italy, June 30, 2017. Reuters. A man takes pictures with a phone with a Union flag casing after Chinese President Xi Jinping not pictured inspected troops at the People's Liberation Army, PLA Hong Kong garrison as part of events marking the 20th anniversary of the city's handover from British to Chinese rule, in Hong Kong, China, June 30, 2017. Reuters. A protester against U.S. President Donald Trump's limited travel ban, approved by the U.S. Supreme Court, holds a sign next to protesters supporting the ban, in New York City, U.S., June 29, 2017. Reuters. Israeli Air Force Efroni T-6 Texan II planes perform at an airshow during the graduation of new cadet pilots at Hatzarim Base in the Negev Desert, near the southern Israeli city of Beersheba. Getty Images. A woman gestures next to people spraying insecticide on a vehicle during a mosquito control operation led by Ivory Coast's National Public and Health Institute in Bingerville, near Abidjan, where several cases of dengue fever were reported. Getty Images. A Libyan Coast Guardsman watches over as illegal immigrants arrive to land in a dinghy during the rescue of 147 people who attempted to reach Europe off the coastal town of Zawiya, 45 kilometers west of the capital Tripoli, on June 27, 2017. More than 8,000 migrants have been rescued in waters off Libya during the past 48 hours in difficult weather conditions, Italy's Coast Guard said on June 27, 2017. Getty Images. A man leaves after voting in the Mongolian presidential election at the Erdene Songur polling station in Tool Valley. Mongolians cast ballots on June 26 to choose between a horse breeder, a judoka and a feng shui master in a presidential election rife with corruption scandals and nationalist rhetoric. Getty Images. People attend Eid al-Fitr prayers to mark the end of the holy fasting month of Ramadan at a playground in the suburb of Sale, Morocco. Reuters. A plainclothes police officer kicks a member of a group of LGBT rights activists as Turkish police prevent them from going ahead with a gay pride annual parade on the 25th of June 2017 in Istanbul, a day after it was banned by the city governor's office. Getty Images. Pakistan Army soldiers stands guard while rescue workers examine the site of an oil tanker explosion at a highway near Bahawalpur, Pakistan. An overturned oil tanker burst into flames in Pakistan on Sunday, killing more than 100 people who had rushed to the scene of the highway accident to gather leaking fuel, an official said. Rescue workers search for survivors at the site of a landslide that occurred in Shinmo village, Mao County, Sichuan Province, China. Reuters. Student activists shout anti-martial law slogans during a protest in Manila on June 23, 2017. Getty Images. A diver performs from the Pont Alexandre 3 bridge into the River Seine in Paris, France, June 23, 2017, as Paris transforms into a giant Olympic park to celebrate International Olympic Days with a variety of sporting events for the public across the city during 2 days as the city bids to host the 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games. Reuters. Debris and smoke are seen after an OV-10 Bronco aircraft released a bomb during an airstrike, as government troops continue their assault against insurgents from the Moat Group, who have taken over parts of Marawi City, Philippines. June 23, 2017. Reuters.